colleagues and friends. A very good afternoon to you. It is truly wonderful to see all of you here in Cairo for this year's Inter-Academy Partnership Conference. I would like to join Peggy in extending my warmest welcome to everyone, to our member academies, the regional network representatives, our partners, and our many friends who have traveled from near and far to be with us. I also want to echo Peggy's heartfelt thanks to our hosts, the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology, and to the Egyptian Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research for their generosity and support, the warm hospitality we have received, and the meticulous organization of this event have made us all feel at home. We would also like to express our deep appreciation to the government of Italy for its steadfast support. Through the generous contribution of the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to UNESCO, we are able to sustain the IAP Secretariat, which is hosted by, to us, the World Academy of Sciences in Trieste, Italy. Likewise, we wish to acknowledge the support provided by the US National Academy of Sciences for our Secretariat in Washington, D.C. This conference is a powerful reminder of what makes IAP so special. It brings together voices from across disciplines, generations, and regions to share knowledge and find collective solutions to the challenges facing our world. We come from very different contexts, but we share the same belief that science, when guided by integrity and collaboration, can help create a better and more sustainable future for all. I am especially pleased to see the diversity of topics and speakers in the program. The agenda reflects not only the complexity of the issues we face, but also the depth of expertise across our network. I am confident that the discussions and exchanges over the coming days will help us identify new opportunities for cooperation and strengthen IAP's role as a global voice for science. Let me once again thank all of you for being here, for your commitment to IAP, and to the contributions you will make during the conference and the General Assembly. I look forward to a productive and inspiring few days together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Masresha. I'll call you and Peggy back up to the stage in a few minutes. But before that, he's representing our host. I'd like to call on Gina El-Feky, Acting President of the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology, of course, our hosts, to present her remarks.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Egypt. It's a true honor and pleasure to have you all here in Egypt, and thank you for the IAP for having the confidence in the ASRT in organizing its conference and General Assembly. Thank you very much. So again, welcome to Egypt, a historic crossroads of civilization and innovation. It's an honor to host the Inter-Academy Partnership Conference in our new capital, reflecting Egypt's commitment to a future driven by science and collaboration. Our gathering today, themed Bridging Science, Policy, and Society in an Era of Transformation, addresses urgent global challenges. No nation or discipline can solve these issues alone. Collective action, informed by robust science and translated into effective policy, is essential. Science diplomacy is vital for fostering peace, progress, and global well-being. The Academy of Scientific Research and Technology, which I'm representing today, leads Egypt's efforts in connecting the scientific community with international partners, acting as a convener for critical dialogue and a gateway for global cooperation. ASRT role is mainly pillared around facilitating dialogues and translating global scientific agendas into national action, participating in international coalitions to align Egypt's research with global priorities, supporting at-risk and displaced scholars, emphasizing that science transcends borders, driving digital transformation through platforms like the Egyptian Knowledge Bank, democratizing access to scientific resources across regions, empowering youth and early career researchers to become future leaders in science diplomacy. As we begin this conference, let us strengthen the bridges between disciplines, regions, and communities. ASRT is fully committed to collaboration, innovation, and ensuring that science serves humanity. Wishing you all a very productive and inspiring event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor El-Feky. Can I invite Peggy and Masresha? We have a small token of appreciation from IAP to ASRT. For those of you without eagle-eye vision, let me read what it says on the plaque. It says, in appreciation of the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology for its outstanding support of and partnership in the IAP Triennial Conference and General Assembly, Bridging Science, Policy and Society in an Era of Transformation, 8th to 11th of December, Cairo, Egypt. Okay, our next presenter is Vaughan Turekian, Executive Director, U.S. National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. As you all know, the U.S. National Academy of Sciences provides generous support to host the Washington, D.C. office of our Secretariat. Please, Vaughan.
Thank you, Peter. And I passed the test getting up the stairs. We'll see if I get down the stairs. The getting down is harder. Good. So, well, excellencies, esteemed participants, and dear colleagues, as Peter mentioned, I'm Vaughan Turekian, the Executive Director for International Networks Cooperation and Security at the U.S. National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. That is something that is a mouthful, so no one has to say it again. It's just, I'm Vaughan. It is truly an honor to be here. And it's actually my first trip to Cairo. And so it is just a wonderful opportunity to be here with a great group of people. And I really want to particularly thank the Academy. You're hosting us, and I can tell you from the enthusiasm that everyone's got about being here, how much everyone appreciates your hosting, and also under the auspices of the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research. In fact, we at the Academies, National Academy of Sciences, know well what it's like to, and an effort it is to host one of these meetings. In 2022, we hosted this very meeting in Arizona, and my colleague Cherry Murray was really a key person pulling that together. It was a different time. It was in 2022. We were still in the midst of the pandemic, and so even the numbers of people that were involved were less. And it is so good to actually have the opportunity to be all here together. And we are here together, and it is something that we think about the academies. We think about the IAP, not just from the framework of having hosted a meeting, but my office hosts and oversees the Academy's participation. And as Peter mentioned, one of the secretariats, along with the Secretariat in Trieste. And it's something that we take very seriously. And my colleagues Rania Costi and Sophia Nort over there have been just absolutely fantastic in serving in that role. We also think about this all the time because we have absolutely wonderful members of our academies who are deeply engaged in the work of IAP, from Dr. Hamburg to Dr. Murray, who is the IAP treasurer, to Dr. Stryer, who some of you have seen, who is, as mentioned earlier, one of the co-chairs of one of the regional networks. So yes, the IAP is something that sticks in my mind a lot. But IAP does not exist in a vacuum. It exists in a world where we are under the underlying institutions of and agreements around international cooperation are steadily eroding. At the same time, the role of deliberative, evidence-built systems of science is also in question at a time when technology changes are moving so quickly, and the emerging platforms are providing responses in times of seconds, not years. It is in that context that so many of us in academies have to think about not just what people are spending a lot of time talking about, which is trust. We actually have to question relevance. We have to think about our relevance at this time because so much is changing in the system, and academies historically don't change that rapidly. And so I really hope that over the coming days, we learn from each other, but we also think a lot more about what we can do in this institution and across scientific institutions as a whole to become and remain or try to become more relevant in this ever-changing world. These are the conversations that we need to be having during our sessions and during the discussions that follow, and in the little round tables where sometimes there's coffee. We have to find ways to make sure that we are thinking about the relevance of working together, not just talking to each other and making ourselves relevant to each other, but thinking about what it means to be relevant in a world in which science and the underlying drivers for it are changing, and the underlying needs of it are now more and more in question around the world. It is somewhat of a big task, but we've got a few days to do it in. But earlier today, some colleagues and I actually got to visit the Egypt Museum, and it was just amazing. And during that drive back, all I could think about was looking at those pyramids and thinking that for 5,000 years, they've been standing. Now there's some cell towers that are sort of around them now, so there's some modernity built in. But those pyramids show that something built of substance and with great engineering can last a very long time. At the same time, in the museum, what you see is what we heard earlier about Egypt as a cross-section of innovation, a cross-section of societies, and a cross-section of ideas. In many ways, that's what this room represents. And we can take advantage of that by learning from one another and seeing what kind of innovation comes from it. So I wish everyone a wonderful time this week. And again, huge thanks to our colleagues from Egypt for hosting us in this wonderful location with our many dear colleagues. Thank you so much.
You, Vaughan, and good job avoiding the steps. Next, we have Lidia Brito. She is the Assistant Director General of the UNESCO Science Sector. She's not here in person, so we'll have a video. She, of course, UNESCO is the administrative organization of TWAS that hosts the IAP Secretariat in TWAS in Trieste. Hence the reason we've invited Lidia Brito to speak to us. We can have the video. By the video itself. right? Very cool. Coming. Takes too long. I propose we can show it tomorrow morning first thing.
Distinguished colleagues, members of the Inter-Academy Partnership. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to this esteemed community. While I wish I could be with you in person, I'm honored to share these thoughts during a period of significant transformation in the global scientific field. We are currently experiencing a shift transforming how science interacts with policy, diplomacy, and society. This moment compels us to ask, how can we ensure that all nations and communities can engage with and benefit from scientific advances? The International Decade of Science for Sustainable Development ability, transparency, and the shared communities are now more interconnected than ever, with research crossing borders more quickly than ever. Involved in monitoring and discovery. However, these same forces that speed up progress increase inequality, emerging tech different rates, and access to knowledge stays concentrated in certain areas. If no action is taken, the gaps in global science will grow wider, further jeopardizing the human right to science. In this context, UNESCO member states adopted the recommendation on open science in 2020. Progress. New national open science policies and repositories, broader data sharing practices, growing cultures of transparency and collaboration, stronger engagement from research community. Assessment also exposed persistent barriers. Digital infrastructure in many parts of the world, limited access to scientific literature, lagging behind the pace of innovation. These finds affirm that open science goes beyond technical aspects. At its core, it's about promoting equity, inclusion, and scientific justice. Science diplomacy is a key element of this initiative. During periods of political tension, scientific collaboration maintains communication and builds trust. Evidence-based diplomacy enables nations to predict issues and identify shared solutions. In this context, the role of science academies is they provide independent, authoritative scientific advice, safeguard scientific integrity, your leadership will play a crucial role in transforming this science decade into a collaboration and trust. UNESCO is prepared to collaborate with you to guarantee that science stays a global public good, accessible, ethical, and focused on the well-being of everyone. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lidia. Apologies for the technical issue. I think we can move on. We can maybe replay that tomorrow morning. If people would like to see it again. Easier to understand it. It'll certainly be on the IAP website if you wish to go back to it. And we will have, just to say, the UNESCO representative from the office in Cairo joining us, I think, in the next couple of days as well. So there's an opportunity for engagement there. To round off the opening ceremony, we move to the representative of the government of Italy, Domenico De Martinis. He is the science attaché of the Italian government at the Italian embassy here in Egypt. As IAP co-president, Masresha Fetene reminded us in his opening remarks, IAP is sincerely grateful to the government of Italy for the financial support it has provided over the years that has allowed IAP to have a solid foundation in Trieste and enables us to build on that to implement projects and programs, many of which you will hear about in the coming days. Just a minute.
Peggy, IAP co-president, Masresha Fetene, IAP co-president, Gina, El-Feky, president of the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology of Egypt, Vaughan Turekian, executive director of the U.S. National Academy of Science, Engineering, and Medicine of the United States, the scholar. Thank you for having me at the opening of the Inter-Academy Partnership Triennial Conference and General Assembly. IAP is a very dear initiative for Italy that is glad to host IAP Secretariat in Italy, in Trieste, and to support its activity with an annual contribution, as we just mentioned. In Trieste, the IAP can rely on an ecosystem of science-related international organizations like the World Academy of Science, the physically host the Secretary, the Abdul Salam International Center of Theoretical Physics, the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, just to name a few, as well that national excellence like the Area Science Park, the Elettrasincroton, the Scuola Internazionale Superiore Studi Avanzati, the university, of course, and the research centers, research institutions in different disciplines that are located in the area. This is an area with the highest density of scientists in Europe, approximately 37 researchers for 1,000 inhabitants. So it's a true scientific hub, so much that it was named the European Capital of Science in 2020. So look like a touristic advertising, but I really suggest if you are a scientist and you have opportunity to go to Trieste, please take this opportunity. This year, IAP Triennial Conference lands in Egypt is hosted by the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology. Is being sponsored by the GTM Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research and held under the auspices of President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. It is a special year. We know Egypt is a crossroad of science for millennia, but going in the modern era, in modern science, Egypt celebrates with Italy 50 years of science and technology cooperation. It's 50 years that we sign a cooperation agreement. And this very year, in October, Egypt became an associated member the EU program for science and technology. So I must say that we are indeed in the right time and in the right place. The agenda of those days will be very intense, approaching bringing science of science policy and society, the science diplomacy in a tumultuous world, barriers and advancing change of women in science, career digitalization, artificial intelligence. So in this year that marks both the Italian and the European Union collaboration with Egypt, we congratulate with IAP for the work done so far, and we look forward to strengthening our interaction to increase the impact and the visibility of IAP even further here in Egypt with the Academy and, if you allow me, with the scientific office of the Embassy of Italy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Domenico. That concludes our opening ceremony, but please remain seated. We'll move directly into our opening plenary session. Peggy, invite you back up to make the introductions.